June 1st, 2022. Today, I'm just gonna try to put this video together because I have a very bad pain in my throat. I would love to say sore throat, but this goes into area where you cannot swallow. You have a difficulty swallow the water down the throat. It started 2 days ago. With my developing, I believe, fever, because I started to shake like this just before I went to sleep. Then the only thing I would collapse and on bed, and just it was no good. Then the next day, the next 24 hours, I wasn't sure whether I'm gonna make it or not. It was just painful throat, sore throat, whatever you want to call this. This here, this area here, pain. Eventually, I got afraid it's gonna swallow so much that I wouldn't be even capable to breathe air. The sleep was restrained to just portions of parts of half an hour. Still, I wouldn't complain about one, because I somehow got that part. But the pain is unbearable. And then next to this, the next day, it was a weakness I acknowledged. I couldn't do other but lay down on the floor and I was dreaming about how I would get to urgency room hospital. When you come in such a condition, nobody can really say no to you, for one thing. There's no doubt about that. They can do a lot of stuff, but there's nothing they can do about when they see you like this. For that, I would have to shower. I would have to prepare my stuff, everything in order, and I barely made it to the toilet. As a matter of fact, I didn't even bother going anywhere. But still, I was determined I'm gonna get somewhere, I'm gonna do something. Then my mother whom I have asked to please buy aspirin so that I could support C vitamin in my body. Left on a table in the kitchen some kind of pain reliever that really was I figure out anything that could deflate my throat, which is still at this point it's it's not doing well. It could be maybe even the difference between life and death. So I went ahead and I took one, and then I went ahead and I ate some fruit, and it went from my not being capable, just as I stated earlier, reaching out for toilet, into what I stated my mother once she returned, being completely healthy. All of a sudden my strength bounced back. It appeared I was doing really well. I'll be okay. I used time. Perhaps with a little arrogance. Something also to my advantage, because I did go and shower myself, thanks God. Mother told me, no, don't, because it's no good to shower, la la. But it wasn't the shower that caused trouble. It was my arrogance, because I went and I prepared myself a cocoa drink. And that one, a hot drink with a cocoa, that one just knocked me out again, out of it. And again, it was again all about staying alive. Realizing where this is heading. Going through last night, by the way, today's June 1st, 2022. I figure out the ambulance services will be required in this case. Because I have nothing to lose, really. Very, very bad stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to do any of it. But I had no choice. You see, this mucus, this just became more and more problematic. And so I called this morning to this General Hospital Novo Mesto, this urgent department of the urgent matters, where you go inside in case you're in a situation like I was, like I am even. And they gestured me to call my physician. So I called the physician here in Blue Lagoon. spoke to the nurse, promised me we'll have a physician call me back. The physician never called back, never bothered to call back. So my mother again called, and physician became interested in knowing about my symptoms, on what I concluded that this is such an urgent matter that it would be just the best way to use ambulance services. Yet if only possible, go to the hospital, go through the hospital. This is not something you would want to mess with, especially because of the politicians that were involved in it. So this video, this is not about what happened. There is I'm gonna post below everything in respect to this coronavirus infection, is what I was taught. However, what I found interesting is, I do have the right to mention this, there's nowhere anything that would be written about infection also. Apparently they mentioned my mother infection, but not even wrote about here. That's what my mother stated. Infection, then she changed the story into something else, I don't know, but it's all this stuff. Eventually it is audio recorded. So I did call probably 4 times to this general hospital in Novo Mesto, and finally these good people appeared and gave me assistance. They were all involved in MK Ultra, but if I say that they were all involved in MK Ultra, I don't know what exactly that means. For instance, the physician that had me today was a physician who worked a few years, I understand, even at this location here. This is a Mir na Trebnje, cesta na Fužine. This is a small, mega small place that this is really impossible. So this is the physician who accepted me inside of the hospital. It's impossible that you would even know about. On a map, this is a city maybe of 1,000 souls or something like that. I have no idea how big this is. Or maybe 500 or 300 or whatever. Okay, so this gentleman was involved in MK Ultra. Probably even, I don't know. Since 95, 96, I have no idea. His name is right here. That's the gentleman who met me inside of the hospital. His mother is Slovenian. And from his father's side, and I don't know what happened to his father because he always was with the mother. He used to leave. He used to live with the mother. He used to live with the mother. This building right here. Then in 2012 he probably changed his location for exclusive rather property that is located right here along the Krka, river Krka. That's a very nice place they built, and I think he was telling me about something like this, that this is where he went like next, that this became his priority. His father was a Serbian, and what's special about this man is that he would bring me with him into the General Hospital Novo Mesto. He wanted to continue to help me. So this is a really in a way this is actually kind of funny stuff. In a way this really is a funny stuff. He worked right at this location here since, let me show it to you. This is a General Hospital Novo Mesto. he worked at this wing here. This was his place here. Urgent center, no master here. Urgentny center. He's gonna go like this. Which is like really close to a psychiatrist, Tatiana Prokshel. I don't know, because it's been already, and I would be doing my stuff basically. Where was Tatiana located? I suppose either here or here. So she bring me in there too. I don't know, but she started to complain about him, that she is the one, she is fighting basically for the Serbia, and he is just like her, half Serbian, and is making her troubles, that she already know what he's cooking against her and I don't know what and stuff like this. This is literally the way this was. It's, you understand there's gonna be a political annotation added to this thing here. This man was, this is a really good man, this guy, this Ilić Oliver. And this one was good enough to get in a whole lot of trouble. He got into trouble with quite a few people because of his normal views, and they cornered him. Because also I was becoming more and more stupid, and he couldn't defend me anymore. So he was like, he joined that other option, but I don't think this is just, for me, that first impression he made on me, that's the most important one for me. It's just, this guy didn't want any trouble. He was there to help, and this is just a really, I quite admire this guy. I like him. I like this guy. So I mentioned to you it's gonna be with political annotation, sure. Look. This stuff here, and it was done again. This is released on May 29. It all started with this kind of stuff. It always, whenever they did something to me in Slovenia or in Poland, it would always start with some kind of unpleasantly. They always made me recall something they would do to me. under MK Ultra, talking about Americans, talking about the Britons, talking about enough said. It was also others, but whatever it would be done to me in Poland, or whatever would be done to me in Slovenia, it always started with this stuff here that you see. Paul Pelosi was arrested for DUI in California already. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna go into it because for me the main thing is here, is this here. This is the main thing. The main thing is here. Nancy Pelosi stated me that if I state virus, this very virus was used under MK Ultra, I'll be rated as a schizo, schizophrenic therefore, and must not say so. Therefore I should keep quiet about I should keep quiet about the play about the viruses. How was with the play with the viruses? The play with the viruses, as I was also explained in Poland, they brainwash me on they're gonna use viruses on me. They would incubate them in food, then you would get that stuff served, and you would eat that stuff, and boom, and you would have terrible, you would suffer terrible cold flu circumstances, and that shit would slow you down. It did slow me down on, if you recall, when I came to Poland in 2018, during 2018, I think it was that I suffered like 3 times. Something similar to what I have now, but not as dire, not as severe. Interesting, others didn't. All the Chechens, all the refugees from whatever they had, the refugees, they didn't suffer any of this stuff that I did. It appeared like I was like the fucking like magnet for viruses, and they told me they're gonna put on the food stuff, on the food, and you eat this and zip and you have it. Whatever the case might be, somebody whose food is completely controlled, and you don't have a safe place even to place something, and you're exposed like this to environment, you just, what do you think? You don't actually have much chance anyways. If I would mention Nancy Pelosi, who Nancy Pelosi is, Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi were involved in the case since 1995. Paul Pelosi did have considerable amount of money. He did have something. He did have something. Let's just put it this way. Yeah, he had something. But he really had nothing compared to the next 3 years from 95 to 98 he made through this case. Nancy Pelosi, who, well, yeah, I can say that she hated me. She didn't like me. Even have to accept me. Even had to tolerate me around her. Like it or not, because of amount of money he made. He was just, his wealth exploded. I wouldn't go into 99, 2000. The money was just too good for him. The connections he built through this case were too powerful for Paul Pelosi to ignore this in any way. This is a very strange bird, Nancy Pelosi. Paul Pelosi always liked me, I think. And I have no idea what got into her head. Sometimes she liked me, sometimes she didn't like me, and I was weird under MK Ultra too, I'm not saying. I was weird as hell too. I wouldn't go into these are other issues. She always had this scarf around her neck and acted like she was something special, and that's something that, boy, if you did this in front of me under MK Ultra, that was just not the thing to do, to play some kind of something like this special under MK Ultra. You better not do that. It's stupid, I know, but it's my personality under MK Ultra was really stupid too. I can't help. It's childishly stupid stuff. Anyways, what's not stupid is that the attack, which commenced with, as I have pointed out here, broken heart syndrome. What are the symptoms and causes? They brainwashed me with a broken heart syndrome, that I'm gonna have to give in no matter what, or it's gonna be my heart that is gonna suffer due to lack of sleep and this and that and tra tra tra. And it was at May 28th. I got another 4 hours and I got plenty of action above my Oculus area, and I already know what that is. It was really, really bad. I don't like talking about the stuff like this, but did you have to go and give a psychiatry that labeled me in 2012 as a paranoid schizophrenic? That'd be 2013, piece of shit. You labeled me as a paranoid schizophrenic already in 1995, if you don't understand that. Because it was in 98 when the psychiatric hospital had to undergo a complete restoration. They had to fix one that Prince Charles decided on one occasion to go and sleep inside, adventurous-wise, and we had to sleep alongside I don't know how many staff members, and I had to be present. Some fucking brought from Miami, from the US, and back to Slovenia, and to sleep in some fucking psychiatric hospital and stuff like this. It's crazy shit. And so when you say stuff like this, you know, that don't say anything about a virus, that we're gonna set you up with a virus because you're gonna be acknowledged as a schizophrenic. This is the last visitation in respect to this play with the viruses they introduced in the game, was the one from Nancy Pelosi and her husband, Paul Pelosi. It was Joe Biden who said, oh look, there's one man that want to still come to see you. Uh, Everybody gave up on you, and so the two did travel Europe. They go travel Europe with Pelosi. I'm not gonna say anything about which countries. Well, you can guess. Probably Pelosi, since that's Italian, and she is very proud of her Italian heritage, I can say. Italy is one spot. But interesting in Paul's case, it was also Norway. That's interesting. And it was on that occasion, the last occasion, which was in probably 2018, maybe, or 2017, that it was about this virus again, repeated, because they did this shit over course of the years. I don't know how many times they exercised this stuff. So that if I would come to senses and understood everything that goes on, come up with a virus that would weaken the shit out of you, and through this virus have you transported again throughout the world without your having any ability to control absolutely anything. If you understand me what I'm saying. So this was like a major American weapon. In this case of mine, we absolutely cannot talk here about sole responsibility for the crime against me by the Eastern European leaders. This is impossible to, so to say. I'm not gonna go into that issue, but these people, regardless of it, they were forced to use directed energy weapons, literally, that would produce cancer-like symptoms. We can say cancer, so that they could help field of psychiatry against me. So this is, from my point of view, that you come from United States of America, from the Great Britain. With a news like this, you target me with this kind of stuff. That's like really weak. It tells everything about who is behind the psychiatry. It actually even makes me wonder any longer what the fuck, what is the difference between you and them? What is the difference between you and them? They talked to me about how there is a difference between the two, that West must do the stuff like this so they can participate in the game. It's actually bullshit, because it was United States of America that repeatedly hijacked me from Miami, Florida, for the sake of Vladimir Putin, for the sake of the Russians, for the sake of the Serbia, and brought me into this cahoots, psychiatric cahoots. And it's now again United States of America that covers up a crime, mutual crime in consensus, mutual crime. They take responsibilities for it. So that the politicians that claimed me, that's a really crazy stuff. This here is a Tanya Fayon. She alone claimed me under MK Ultra that if I would not go into complete submission in front of this newly elected. It's not newly elected. It always was. It never was. Slovenia as a country doesn't even exist. Not as a nation, not as a country. Slovenia is everything that is right here, right on the top here. It's all explained about Slovenia, everything. Everything. Everybody normal knows that because of my case, there is no legal elections in Slovenia till one is resolved. You see, I'm Slovenian, so you can't have any kind of fucking elections like this. And I ask here people, as I asked them many times when there was Yugoslavia, did you dare to publicly express in Yugoslavia that you wish independent Slovenian state? And it says right there, no, why not? Fear? And then I point out the Slovenian state, basically what it looks like, these politicians. And so she demanded from me a complete submission to her newly elected government. I wouldn't even go into this stuff because this is just a total waste of time. Interesting, maybe enough. Also interesting. Who also had his say about in MK Ultra. This Serbian also had his say in MK Ultra. Is this thing here too? He was the one also who told me, you're gonna go in hospital if you will survive, and I'm gonna become again a Serbian president. It doesn't really, this here doesn't really matters. This here, however, does. That you have to go as far as this here, and the news about the Nancy Pelosi that came up again, unfortunately, was released on a Yahoo, and I'm gonna go look over, because this shit started once, then they follow up with other stuff, because they want attention on them. It was released on May the 30th. So they try like a magnet to attract all the blame upon themselves, knowing that's done here, and knowing that for the fuck of a, literally through the cardiac issues, through the cancer issues, this stuff must be done to support a thesis of psychiatry against me. So this is incredibly pathetic in my eyes, that you have to go as far as this as an American, that you gotta go as far as this here, as the world is looking at this stuff in Ukraine. And the thing about it is that they have to look because they have no other choices they could use. But that's the only difference that separates could, whatever issues. This Slovenian government of 2022, as far as the political parties, they elected for the most part what people would refer to as the leftists. And so it was either you are gonna submit yourself to us, and literally I was told this by the leftists, or we are simply gonna get rid of it. And this is what this video should be about. This video should be about the background of this COVID. COVID was, according to Nancy Pelosi, would become an option. She didn't say it would be a COVID, but she mentioned it was with that bad virus. You know, that bad virus. The bad virus was COVID. COVID was something they planned upon against the world already for like 15 years before breakout of the COVID. They planned monkeypox as well. The Germans were excited about the monkeypox. And really the one that released one were Americans. It all depends on you. If you will say something like this, that you did go to the hospital and this and that, that there were other people that were tested for this kind of virus that makes you weak and this and that, the only thing that's gonna happen is the bad virus is gonna be added. It's gonna be the bad eye virus that's gonna be added. And then it's gonna be even health-wise complications for you. So if you're not gonna keep your mouth shut about absolutely anything about this here, about well, there was another one. Who also stated me, she stated me that this would be her last for me. With the Platinum Jubilee of Elizabeth II. They dared me under MK Ultra with this stuff here that you see in 2012, 2013, whatever, maybe even in 2010, whether I will go to that Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth. Under MK Ultra, I did not know anything what the fuck they're talking about. But there were people that insisted me that They dared me. They absolutely dared everything that I stated under MK Ultra, and it was also on how I will not like one, that I don't actually like the British, that I don't, you know, exactly what I stated right now. That was like a main topic under MK Ultra. You will not go to this Platinum Jubilee. There will be this big Platinum Jubilee, whatever, and you will not go. You never liked Britain. You will not go, and this and that. And I didn't understood any of it. Why wouldn't I like Britain? Why wouldn't I want to go? And you're talking about people that had really nothing to do with royals other than being on their pay list. I was so insane under MK Ultra that I insisted on this Platinum Jubilee party, that I want to go there for probably next, I don't know, several years, maybe 7 years, maybe more, since every time whenever they hijacked me to Britain, that I want to go to the Platinum Jubilee, that I want to go to Platinum Jubilee. And she was demanding from Americans in front of me that this is the last thing that she wants, that she just wants this, the Platinum Jubilee, until the Platinum Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee. This would be just another hijacking of me on a Platinum Jubilee. You know this tradition here, the Easter egg, it started with George Bush first. He was the one who demanded from me to dress me into Easter rabbit. I don't know exactly what went on. They were extremely watchful, extremely polite. They rehearsed. Even if you would go dressed up in this shit and smash somebody on the nose and try to make a scream, yell, it's totally questionable unless it would be live. That's why I'm really skeptical what exactly, how much was that when it was live, because they rehearsed. This is the same thing like America Got a Talent. Before they started the show, and you don't know what exactly, what, how, this and that. But from what I see, hear this, and when I think about the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee Party, I see absolutely no difference. So I said, and who in my situation would want to go to visit somebody like this, to pay respect, to pay devotion to somebody like this? Who's sane would go and do something like that? These people are sadistic lunatics. This is a sadism. This is a lunacy. Now that these people have their supporters, who doesn't have his supporters? They have money. The more supporters. Prince Harry stated me that he will not attend this Jubilee party from Queen Elizabeth, but that he's gonna squeeze himself in there through the crowd on some spot anyways, and be there too anyways, that he will participate anyways, and that I will be only allowed to participate in this Jubilee party if I would be that bad virus free. So we're talking about many years ahead of explosion of this COVID-19. This I was identified with. COVID-19. Many years ahead of this. These people really knew all about the COVID. They all knew about all this stuff. They all know about all this stuff. All I want to say is I've never seen people as thrilled but capable to hide and lie as much, as thrilled about a psychiatry but capable to hide and lie about their real intentions as much as these British emperors from London. Never seen anything like this. A chameleons like this, pathological liars like this, I have never ever seen. Possibly could not believe that somebody could be so disgusting that would go and exploit the human conscience to a degree of crime like this. So, because of this thing here, I wanted to clarify that nothing was saying to these people. Nothing. Not a spine breaking they wanted me to blame Poland for. The Poland is to blame for. This didn't happen in Britain or in America. It happened in a Poland who accepted cash from Britain and America. Just as about cancer play in Slovenia, Poland, Slovenia, heart-related cardiovascular issues, for the same reason, for the same shit, for the personal gain. With people completely misusing political options. If you want human rights, just as I stated, to exploit human conscience as much as possible. As I said, I've never seen people as disgusting as this. It can't be more disgusting as this, because it's the people that search for the core sense of the human being. Whether you want to call this human rights in one, or you want to call this, you want to relate to this whatever you want to relate to this stuff, human rights, Bill of Rights, Constitution, law, whatever you want. These are psychiatry lovers. They love field of psychiatry with idea to murder people through psychiatry, with idea to literally exploit psychiatry to degree so to say cancer issues, cardio, painful, literally pain related issues, literally pain, sleep deprivation, shit, can be publicly enforced down on a human being thanks to psychiatry. That's how much they love the psychiatry. We have the psychiatry, what the fuck can they do to us? Basically, that's their message. We are owners of psychiatry. And so, regardless of what you do to a person, and I was vocal about Nancy Pelosi, man, they had, I'm not gonna go into that, because they probably have about 30 people, 30 right here in Novo Mesto, of which minimum 10 of them were Americans that would go and check over the course of the years for the virus. And this kind of virus that totally incapacitates you. Going to the virus, and I'm gonna take this thing off. I am just gonna relate myself to this issue here. This is cold, flu. And then I figure out that maybe we will do some of this stuff here. I am just gonna put it like this to you. Loss of appetite, no. Sore throat, yes. Sneezing, no. Cough, no, not really, but the cough, because I'm extremely very careful with this stuff, because I know the cough is producing more and more, greater and greater release of mucus. I tend to soften one down with initial consumption of the water. However, we could say cough, sure. Vomiting, not really. Muscle pain, no. High fever, yes. Headache, no. Fatigue, chills, yes. Just to be precise about this stuff here. I would say to this thing here, I would say to this thing here as yes. I would say yes to fatigue. No. No. Sorry, that's not good. Because this is like totally no. Muscle pain, no muscle pain whatsoever. No muscle pain whatsoever in my case. None of that stuff. breathing issues clearly suggest on COVID-19 in my case. Loss of taste is, in my case, no. Loss of smell in my case is no. High temperature in my case is yes. And persistent cough, it would also be yes. I have such a pain in my throat because I talk that fast I will try to complete this. I'm gonna post this under the video too. Yes. 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 Shortness of breath, not really, but that's maybe because I'm athletic. I would give this a neutral. Yes. No. 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 Diarrhea, yes, because I drink too much C vitamin, too much vitamins, and I did not consume otherwise food. I started to implement diet, giving body a chance to reset itself. No, no. So this is basically you have to go and repeat the same thing and pretty much see what is stronger here. Stuff I'm doing right now, this I have to mention too, was a Prince William who insisted me I should do to know exactly what I have. That man was so heavily obsessed with the psychiatry too. It's truly regretful. It was other people who told me, however, Britons, English, they told me during MK Ultra they literally examined me with whatever they have used. If I feel a loss of taste, a loss of smell, and I told them no, I don't, and they told me then you will see, this is how it starts, and then you will. That translates these people have used some other virus, something else, and they have inserted into this scenario here exactly the stuff I'm talking about right here then. And I found here a really helpful video.
Subscribe to Newsline.
Coronavirus is a respiratory virus which attacks different people with different symptoms and health conditions.
Respiratory, that does make a lot of sense in my case. Because respiratory issues, before I even requested help of any kind, assistance of medical services, anything, it did develop into this issue, like overnight.
However, the one recognizable symptom which points to signs of trouble early on is the presence of a dry cough. Coughing is the body's natural mechanism to help our irritants. Differentiating a normal cough from a COVID-19 cough can help you take timely action. Experts say that nearly 80% of the patients are diagnosed with COVID-19 suffer from mild symptoms which include a cough, slightly high fever, headache.
80% mild symptoms. Cough, slightly high fever, headache, or shortness of breath.
Or shortness of breath. Other 20% are those with comorbidities who suffer from severe complications. Hence, paying attention to milder symptoms can prevent complications and help a person recover faster. How do you recognize a dry cough? Is it unique to a coronavirus infection? Based on studies conducted by researchers, most people diagnosed with COVID-19 recorded a croaky, dry cough as a prominent symptom in the early days of infection. While a dry cough is usually characterized in COVID diagnosed patients, it is not particular or unique to COVID 19. A dry cough is produced without sputum or phlegm and it doesn't bring up any kind of mucus. It is considered to be a non-productive cough. A dry cough feels like a constant tickle in the back of your throat. It can also trigger a cough reflex and produce a hoarse sound when you speak. While dry cough can feel bothersome and more troublesome to manage, dry coughs can also happen with other forms of allergies and infections such as bronchitis or forms of the common cold. However, you might also get a doubt, why does COVID-19 cause dry cough? For that, here is the answer. Most of COVID-19 symptoms are subsequent of inflammation and the virus attacking the respiratory system. Whereas even coronavirus is similar. It can multiply and block airways in the upper tract, settle in the lungs, which can lead to irritation and possible inflammation of the lung tissue and linings. When this happens, a cough is produced. Since COVID symptoms start off as that of a seasonal cough or flu, it can be tricky to determine if your infection is just the regular flu or COVID-19. According to experts, if your cough lingers for more than a week or in case if it goes along with other symptoms like gastrointestinal issues, breathlessness, headache, chest pain or any other typical signs, then it is a sign that one should get COVID test done. Anyhow, none of these symptoms should be taken lightly. According to experts, if your cough lingers for more than a week or in case if it goes along with other symptoms like gastrointestinal issues, breathlessness, headache, chest pain or any other typical signs, then it is a sign that one should get COVID test done. Anyhow, none of these symptoms should be taken lightly. Later, it might be dangerous where one might lose their life too. Always make sure you follow all the hygiene protocols, which includes all safety measures like staying in
All this stuff against me was done in accordance with surveillance. For the last 2 weeks, I really enjoyed myself, preparing myself milk, which, however, just as I was told under MK Ultra to boil for several minutes each time before consuming one, despite what is written on this milk bottles, that this is the milk that's been already pasteurized, it's ready to drink, it's nothing, it's everything, it's sterile, it's good. I took the side with which some of the people insisted me I have to boil instead, over and over and over, on what I would go and mix one with the water so that I would divide that fat in the milk and stored one inside of the fridge so that I would have something nice cold. I would drink, pour myself some cocoa inside, and that's what I used to substitute the coffee. Basically, that became my drink. It was exactly this thing that was tempered. It was exactly what my mother insisted made me sick. It's exactly what did not make me sick. It's exactly what was used parallel to the stuff that I am 100% certain was stuffed inside of the fridge, inside of our home. They told me there will be a prosciutto, a dried meat, like this, and I was told, do not eat this one. This is gonna be a really dried meat, dried out. Do not eat this one. And I looking at this meat, this beautiful meat, I didn't understand why would I not eat this. What that would be a problem, why I would not eat this stuff. Now I understand this, even more so because today, my mother asked the ambulance services which arrived to test me for COVID, what's gonna happen now since I have a COVID, because they did the testing and it came clear right in front of her that I have a COVID. And they said for about 5 days you shouldn't be going to the hospital to visit father. Remember the father? My father is still inside of the hospital. Same day, today, just 1 hour later, my mother comes to me and tells me that she cannot go to visit father anyways, because the room where the father is located inside is closed for visits. Everybody inside of the room has a COVID. People involved in MK Ultra, with whom father was before hospitalized inside of the hospital, inside of the general hospital of Novo Mesto, also promised me they would do something like this if I wouldn't be kind to them. They didn't do it. That's the point. They didn't do it. Governments, based on what I have stated, are becoming so smart they completely contradict themselves. Drinking cold from the fridge doesn't give you COVID after all. And if you're about to release the COVID, it has a different incubation period. The funniest thing is that past few days I did not even drink the milk I stated. For some people it takes so many days, for other people it takes so many days, but it was triggered literally through, obviously through the habit I developed, like a time bomb, to get the outcome exactly like totally in line with the timing and everything. I did not have any kind of, the last time I drink this cold milk from the fridge, so I think it's a really important information. Maybe it was the May 29 or something like this. I never had any pain in my throat because of drinking cold milk. Zero, none. Everything was normal. It was all normal. Until the Monday, the 30, when I went sleep. And the way I went sleep, I was really, really messed up. All of a sudden this fever exploded in me. Just as I stated at the beginning of this video. I crashed down, and the next day it was a hell of a night. And the next day, with my hoping actually that it just got something to do with some virus infection, whatever. With my waking up the next day totally in trouble, wanting to go to the physician and couldn't even go to the physician. Why the mother stated that there was an infection, claimed there was infection, and these people did not wrote about infection. Was it something that she tried to push me into a paranoia according to her MK Ultra Games scenario? They had a scenario. They totally had the scenario. This here was the scenario. The scenario I have properly exposed right here. Just do it like this. Let me enter again this word, magic word known as Pelosi. Americans evaluated my body response to whatever virus. It goes totally in line with a theory I was brainwashed with. There's going to be a virus. And with what Prince Harry stated to me, if you will attend the Jubilee party with us, unless you're going to have a COVID. That thing doesn't allow you to travel around. Several of their own next to Slovenian side, nobody made it without going to hospital with urgency. They were all done really fast. Yeah, they were all done really fast. Then they started to get a little slower to 3 days, 4 days. But from the beginning, it was from one day to another. It's very difficult to understand Nancy Pelosi. It's very difficult for me to understand the US government, the British. It's very difficult because they claim that Slovenia is the country that doesn't deserve this kind of money, that Slovenia is something else. It's basically what I claimed and claim on my news site. This is really not even a nation. But if Slovenia was such a problem, why have they done this to me also in Slovakia and in Czech Republic and in Poland? You understand my point? If everything is wrong about Slovenia, and not even myself, whatever, well, why have they done the same thing in Poland, with Poland and the Czech Republic and with the Slovakia and so on? Is it that's where this world of lies, bullshit, American British bullshit basically stops? In my case, I'm angry about this stuff. I'm angry that somebody is fucking around remotely doing the stuff like this, rearranging the lives of people, causing evil left and right, and gets away with it regardless. It got on my nerve. And as I stated, it wasn't the Russians who did this. When I went to America in '95 and never exited one for 11.5 years, it was American Central Intelligence Agency that delivered me inside of this room here in Slovenia for torture. It was Americans that delivered me for torture to Britain and other locations for their geopolitical interests. It was Americans that pushed me out of the US more than once, that made my life unbearable, impossible in the US. Through violating absolutely everything the US Constitution stands for and their Bill of Rights and everything these people have sworn on after their slavery times or whatever. For this matter here, I would be love to be finished here with this stuff here. Mother appears to have developed COVID-19 as well. Now, my mother was vaccinated 3 times, but she said that that kind of virus, according to MKUltra, however, would take her away, and that would be my fault, and so on and so forth. I really thank her for these medications. That was really nice. But as per claiming me in the face how I don't have a fever by using some kind of thermometer that is, I don't know what the fuck it is, it's fit for the trash bin, and that she's gonna measure me in accordance with her physician here from Blue Lagoon, Plava Laguna, a blood pressure and stuff like this, so that for that shit too, she can tell that I don't have any problems with the blood pressure and stuff like this. I literally have to send her somewhere and get on the phone and get myself ambulance services, of course, a fever, of course, a low blood pressure, because of which they have given me several bottles of intraveno here. they hydrated me basically, because it was very, very low, the whole thing. So by just going about through what she has to say, I would be still here mumbling to myself, basically, knowing fucking shit about really what went on. You have to get this stuff done for you to know what the fuck you have. Now at this we know we have COVID-19. I would not go into any kind of conspiracy theories that medics gave me a COVID-19. That is stupid. The medics were very beautiful people, young, nice people, good people. I'm actually really satisfied. They had some stupid scenarios involved in MKUltra, but in reality these are really nice people. Really pleased to have these people around me. So, father's in the hospital without any visitations anymore. My mother is in the room next door. She feels sick as hell too. And for me, this is just a beginning of the third day. I'm not very optimistic about. But I did stress all my issues every time. Whenever they went and they produced something against me, they were gonna go and use straight. I wouldn't say this because it's really is all the sides here to blame for. This is not only one side. The one to blame for all this stuff the most, it's United Nations. United Nations is just a tool. It's a murderer's tool. This is the most murderous. This is the most murderous, the most politically oriented, the most controlled. It's like a psychiatry, you know. It's like something that exists out there and will only exist for the owners of it. It's not neutral. It does have owners. It's completely controlled. And it's under United Nations that this type of crime just continues to roll on. This obviously does not help this kind of stuff. Doing this kind of stuff to person doesn't help really anyone. What the hell do you profit from the stuff like this? Maybe interesting, what I did not mention was maybe my cousin. From my cousin son became when 18 years old, completed his school for the medical technician, and he's from Bela Krajina. And it was my cousin Jožica who wanted him to just she was the one really who got him somehow into idea to get this ambulance driver pre-qualification and stuff like this, in addition to his medical technician school. And so it was 2015. (2016) barely, maybe, I don't know. 2015 probably, I would say. That he popped up right here in front of our home with a ambulance vehicle. He wanted to become an ambulance driver, and I was with him inside of the this is the man who brought me home today. That's how it all ended. he was encouraged by other ambulance drivers that were involved in this case. He said, "This is just nothing big. You just try. Sit here and drive. This is nothing big. Just drive. Sit here and drive." And he started to drive and back and forth, and he decided he's going to become ambulance driver. Then he was used by the General Hospital Novo Mesto also on several occasions afterwards to present himself as a driver here of the Novo Mesto. I don't know. No, I'm not going to go 2015, but definitely we were talking about like 2017, 2018 for sure. That's 5 years ago already. The thing about it is, he was driving in Chernomyr, in Bela Krajina, ambulance vehicle. As he stated to me, no, as I said, but you're also here since 2015. He says, no, only 2 years, since 2020. Well, it was a very big overstatement when he stated, after he delivered me home today, he asked me, where does he turn? He knew about where Krka 1 is, okay, but which house he didn't know. That's strange, because he was here on so many occasions. And the mother came out, and the two handshake with one another as if the two never ever met one another. You cannot reject. It's impossible. Because I was with the mother at their place numerous times. Already from that point of view. Basically, when I stepped inside of his medical vehicle today at the hospital, before he took me home, he told me that we are family. He told about family connections. He knew me better than what I knew him, because I only knew him from MK Ultra, because that's how it was. So that maybe is the best thing. I do have that stuff recorded. What I can tell you is that 2 nurses, 2 minimum, in year 2006, one in 2005, another one in 2006, the latest. That was Peter Kapsch insisted me on this stuff here. 2 nurses. I had a very big difficulty identifying the girl today. It was very difficult for me to go about and identify, but there were 2 nurses. Cheshchava Zalog. It should be here somewhere. Prečna. Straža Zalog. Well, uh, you know, they're still at the hospital, at the General Hospital Novo Mesto. You know, the two nurses got married. You know what? I'm gonna go and take a wild shot here. Two nurses that were here. You're talking about the girls, about 23 years old, something like this, 24 maybe. Wait a minute, no, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Right from here, that work at the hospital, they got married from this area in 95 and 96. That were involved in this case, and that were interested in me, and la 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 la. What I'm trying to tell you is that there is probably nobody that is employed inside of the hospital. They told me that in some other hospital there is people like this that they were not involved, but with the exception of a few people, everybody was involved in this case of MK Ultra, and I should have ability, literally ability, to point out for every physician, for every person involved in MK Ultra. With a little effort, I could do this. Now the thing about it is that due to such a high number of people involved in this case of MK Ultra, this is everything but easy. It's everything but easy. Today, the lady I have mistaken with, but whom I did somehow manage to identify, I have basically mistaken her with a nurse who was apparently also interested in marrying me, and is right from this location here. That's how many people were involved in this stuff. That's the number of the people that were involved in this stuff. Yeah, so this is your stadium here, and then you would have what is this here? Irchavas, and you would have this apartment buildings and such, and tra-la-la. Well, I am doing this on the go. I'm not paying attention much to it, but then again, there is a house here in the rear here. For instance, I'm talking about the nurses. I'm not even talking about the physicians here that this particular nurse is from. So if I would go now among these nurses, you bet I would already start to pick one by one. She had, so if this is what this is, this like this, I don't know. Maybe this here or something like this, yeah? So this is a little bit difficult for me because of also the amount, but also because of the number of the people. I'm certainly not lagging the information behind. I'm certainly not someone that wouldn't know what the fuck he's talking about if anybody ever did. Probably I do. So they did came to pick me up, and they did accepted me right there. I should say right here. And it was exactly the room. They always had me inside with the window open too, meaning that you see that ambulance vehicle right there. They come and they stop there, and they idle the engine for several hours. sure got plenty of carbon monoxide and a diesel smell because I was down on the first floor with the window open. But they did this stuff to remind me, basically to remind me where I was brought under MK Ultra so many times before. So this is the location I have just stated to you about the nurse. This is the hospital where I was brought. I'm gonna go to that location of the nurse one more time. Obviously I didn't anticipate I will make a mistake like this. The ambulance vehicle, you see, they always idled their engines right in front of it, and as the nurse would open the window, exactly the room that all the smell of this diesel carbon monoxide would roll in was the room I was inside. The nurse I was talking to you about, yeah, see, now I really don't know what exactly. You see these buildings here? It's like whatever letter you want to see this white buildings here. Her house is right about at this place here. That one got a job, I think, at a hospital. I think in 2013 or 2015. The two other nurses I have spoken about that this psychiatrist Peter Kapsch claimed how I should marry, that this is opportunity for me, whatever. It would be here, this thing here. But you're talking about typically 22 or 23-year-old. At the time. Something like this. I am all messed up about this stuff. This stuff is all recorded. I have recorded the whole thing. The best was when this little cousin of mine met my mother. That was maybe the best thing. They so well arranged when I was brought. Let me see this. This I don't even understand, but they got me here. What they claim was they missed, I don't know, the artery or whatever, vein, and when they were giving me intravena here inside, it went rather into muscles or whatever. Then they did the same thing here in this one. The same thing, I understand, happened. Then what they did was they give me one through here. Then they brought me to the hospital again. And I probably got well, I got one more. I got one more here, and I got one more here, and one more here. 3 maybe. I don't know. Maybe 7 more. 7 shots altogether. Maybe 6, 7 needles for the purposes of intravenous hydration and all that other great stuff. They had to take a blood for analysis too, and so on and so forth. So that's what that was. If that's something that helps somebody with something, I don't know. I'm still happy. I was still happy with this medical service. I still have to say that I was satisfied with it. Satisfied with the idea that I have a coronavirus certificate. That's a very important one. That I was taken inside of the hospital. That I have seen some people involved in this stuff. A lot of impressions, a lot of stuff is rolling over my head. Nothing good in respect to British and Americans, though. I have to express my disappointment. I'm disgusted with you, the people of the United States of America, disgusted that you would go as far as this to accommodate somebody's appetites, your trade relations. Appalled that simply you're beasts. You're beasts. What is to you the fucking Russian sleep experiment anyways? Look, today's date and the time already. Hopefully my mother gets better.